You're listening to the Life Coaching Secrets Podcast, episode 207. Did you know that life coaches are needed now more than ever? I'm Frank Macri, founder of Thriving Coach Academy. I've trained over 1,000 coaches and helped them launch their own successful coaching businesses. If you want to make an incredible income and impact as a coach and have a lot of fun doing it, I'll show you exactly how to get it done. This is Life Coaching Secrets. What's up, coaches? In this episode, I'm going to talk about how to handle coaching paralysis. And when I say coaching paralysis, I mean it's when you start having those thoughts that cause you to get stuck, overwhelmed, and doubtful. It's when all of those negative what ifs take over. And these are what ifs that you might have about you, what ifs that you might have about your clients, the coaching industry. And this will impact you when you're in sessions with clients. It can impact you before sessions, after sessions, just while you're trying to build your business. And it could even impact you before you even take that leap and get into coaching. Now, many of the what ifs in our brain are catastrophizing thoughts, meaning it causes us to just focus on this imaginary worst case scenario. Now, there might be times when it's really useful to have a plan for the worst case scenario, but when you let your brain focus on all of these what ifs, all of these potential catastrophes, it will drain you and it will prevent you from taking any meaningful action in your life, right? We have that primitive, fearful part of our brain that's always trying to protect us and keep us safe. But if we let that side of our brain call all the shots in our life, it's going to keep you small. It's not going to allow you to really grow and have fulfillment. So we want to have a way to address this. Otherwise, we're just going to experience coaching paralysis. All of those unknowns are going to take over. Now, if you do have a lot of fear-based what ifs, I want to acknowledge that because it means that you're thinking ahead, right? There's some goodness to that. It shows that you like being prepared. It shows that if you have some what ifs around like what happens with clients, what happens with your business, it shows that you care deeply about doing a great job as a coach. So I do acknowledge if you've got a lot of those what ifs, but I also want to give you a way to balance those out and give you a different flavor of what ifs that I think will really support you. All right, there are what ifs. A lot of the what ifs that are negative, they come from having a lack of trust in yourself. Right? When you really trust yourself and you truly believe that no matter what happens in your life, you're going to be okay, your business is going to be okay, your clients are going to be okay, there's so much trust that creates. And then it starts to calm down all of those unmanaged what ifs that are all about catastrophes happening. So what I'm going to invite you to do to address any kind of coaching paralysis is I'm going to give you ways to change really the direction that your what if is going. So instead of your what if going to a very scary place, it's going to go to a very exciting and opportunity-oriented place. Now, this is an episode that you may want to pause at various points and take notes. If you're driving, okay, keep driving. You don't have to pull over, but it might be one to come back to because I could easily see you filling up a whole notepad with lots of different what ifs. And I really want you to notice what ifs are holding you back and try on the new what if questions I'm going to give you. All right. So the logic behind this is that when you have a negative what if, it's only fair to balance it out with a positive what if, right? They're both hypothetical. So if we're going to let your catastrophizing, fear-based, primitive part of your brain, if we're going to let that be in the spotlight and we're going to let it have a voice, then it's only fair that we let the more imaginative, possibility-driven, creative, and really just more expansive version of you also be in the spotlight as well. So we want to give equal airtime to both and not just let one take over. Because when you let the fears take over, you just live a fear-based life, and it's very hard to create success and have fulfillment when you are operating with fear. So I divided this episode into a few different categories. I'm going to go over some what ifs. about your clients and just their coaching process. I'm going to go over what ifs around your own abilities as a coach, around your coaching business, and then just overall some thoughts I'll give you to have a deeper sense of trust in yourself. Now, this is an episode I really wish I had something like this when I was getting started, because I know that I had coaching paralysis that came up at times. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So I'm going to start with, in the first category, some what ifs about your clients and the coaching process. So I'm going to start with the negative what if, and then I'm going to go into basically a reframe that you can have. All right, so let's go into it. So you might think, what if my client doesn't get results? Right? That's a negative thought that's just going to keep you stuck. You can also replace that what if with, what if your coaching helps your client in ways they never expected? Let's go to another one. What if the client thinks I'm not good enough? Okay, you can focus on that, or you can think, what if you trust that your presence and your skills are enough to create an impact? Another thought, what if the client gets upset with me? Like maybe you worry that they might be upset with a challenging question that you ask them. Well, what if their discomfort leads to a powerful breakthrough? And this is not just fluff, like this is actually truly what could possibly happen. What if the client has a big emotional reaction and you don't know how to handle it? Well, what if your ability to hold space allows them to really process and heal from what they're going through? Just a thought. Right? What if the client doesn't want to continue working with you? Have you ever had that fear? What if your client doesn't want to keep working with you? Well, what if you trust that the right clients will stay and the others will move on for a reason? The next one is a very common one. What if you ask a poor question? You might wonder, what if I ask a bad question? Well, what if every question that you ask leads to new awareness, even if unexpected? Even if unexpected. Are you feeling your brain shift as I'm going through these? Hopefully you do. You might worry about, what if I freeze and I don't know what to say in a session? Well, what if your silence is actually powerful and creates deeper reflection? You might worry, what if I don't know the right thing to say? What if your presence alone is enough to help someone transform? Your presence alone. You might worry, what if the client brings up something and I don't know how to handle it? What if you trust in your ability to navigate the unknown with curiosity and presence? You might wonder, what if the client doesn't respond to the coaching tools I use? Well, what if you explore different approaches and discover what truly works for them? Do you hear how the first what if just focuses on a problem? It's very problem oriented, very fixed mindset. Whereas the alternative what if is approaching it with trust, with openness, with curiosity. You might worry, what if the session doesn't go anywhere? Well, you can also think, what if every session, even the quiet ones, serves a purpose? You might worry, what if I run out of time before we make any progress? Well, what if progress isn't about rushing, but about planting seeds for future breakthroughs? Think about how that makes you feel so much lighter, feeling like you have to rush in your sessions and not run out of time. Just really trusting that you're planting seeds for future breakthroughs in every session. You might wonder, what if the client asks me something and I really don't know how to answer it? Well, what if you don't need all the answers? Just the ability to explore, right? That's really what we're doing as coaches. We're not giving answers, we're exploring. You might wonder, what if the client reveals something that is outside of my scope of practice? And you might have this cause a lot of fear for you. Well, what if you can confidently refer your client to the right professional and uphold your integrity? Right? What if you can just confidently refer them to the right professional? What if in a session things get awkward and there's silence that goes on for too long? Well, what if that silence is where those deepest insights emerge? You might worry, what if I say something that triggers my client? That could happen, right? Well, what if you handle it with grace and turn it into an opportunity for growth? You might worry about technology failing and think, what if technology fails during a virtual session? Well, what if you stay calm, adapt, and make the best of the situation? Your clients are not going to be upset. Things happen like that. It's okay. And you might think, what if the client cancels their session last minute or ghosts you, just disappears? Well, what if you can trust that those who are meant to work with you will show up fully? Just trust in that. Now, I want to talk about some catastrophizing what ifs that you might have around your own abilities as a coach and some reframe questions you can consider. You might think, what if I'm not a good enough coach? You might have that thought about yourself. What if instead you already have everything that you need to make a difference? Like, what if that's also true? You might think, what if I struggle with imposter syndrome? Well, what if you remind yourself that even the best coaches once felt like beginners too? It's a universal experience that all successful people go through at some point. You might think, what if I don't have enough experience to help this client? Well, what if I'm going to make a whole episode where I talk about your essence versus your experience. I'm so excited to share that soon. So instead of thinking, what if I don't have enough experience to help the client? What if your essence is exactly what they need? Right? What if your essence is more valuable than any kind of life experience that you have? More to come on that topic. You might think, what if I can't really deliver the transformation that the client is expecting? Well, what if transformation happens in ways that neither you nor your client can even predict? You might have this assumption around how transformation should unfold, but what if it happens in a way neither you or your client can predict? You might think, what if I mess up and the client just loses trust in me? Well, what if your authenticity actually builds even deeper trust with your client? Right? Like if you're just worried, what if I mess up and I stumble over my words or have to rephrase a question or I have to, use the tool again because I didn't go through it the first time? What if all that authenticity, just like keeping it real with your clients, is what allows them to build trust with you anyway, right? That's how trust is built. What you might wonder, what if I'm not as good as other coaches that your clients have worked with? Well, what if you bring something unique that no other coach can? Again, think about your essence. It's something that's unique to you. So you, by default, are bringing something unique that no other coach can bring. You might worry about the thought, what if I lose confidence in the middle of a session? Well, what if you ground yourself and remember that your presence alone is powerful? And it truly is. There's so much that comes from your presence as a coach that is powerful. Your presence, your ability to be there, be available, listening to your client. Beyond just what you even say or ask, just you being really present and there with them. It is so impactful. All right, so those are some thoughts that you might have around your own abilities. I want to also talk about another big category, which is about your coaching business, because I know there's a lot of negative what ifs that you all have in your brains. You might worry, what if I just can't find enough clients? Well, what if there are already people that are looking for exactly what you have to offer? I've made an episode on this podcast called Your Clients Are Waiting for You, and that's one I highly recommend you listen to if you have this fear that you won't be able to find enough clients. What if there are already people looking for exactly what you have to offer? You might worry, what if I just can't get clients? Well, what if the perfect clients are already looking for someone like you? You might think, what if clients don't think I'm really worth the investment? What if clients don't think you're worth the investment? Well, what if you fully owned your value and the right clients see that too? What if you fully owned your value and the right clients see that too? You might worry, what if my pricing's too low or too high? Right? We have a lot of business materials in Thriving Coach Academy that help our students with pricing and client attraction and all that. But the mindset's also key, and we have a whole module around mindset, stuff like this. So another thought to have is, what if your pricing is perfect for the transformation that you provide? Like, what if your pricing is great as it is and it wasn't too high or too low? You might worry, what if I get bad reviews or negative feedback on your coaching? Well, what if feedback helps you refine your process and become an even better coach? You might think, what if I don't have a big enough audience? Well, what if I don't need a big audience, just the right people who deeply connect with my message? And I often tell our students in the academy, I reference this podcast, I reference all other marketing efforts that I've done over the past decade in the industry, even before I was training coaches. It was never about having a big audience. It was just about attracting the right people, even if it was a very small audience. So what if you don't need a big audience? It's just the right people who deeply connect with your message. Here's another big one. What if people judge you for putting yourself out there? Yes, that could happen. And what if people are inspired by your courage and take action in their own lives? So what if people are inspired by your courage and take action in your own lives? And I've referenced this as well in the podcast. People are really going to judge no matter what, right? They judge you if you're playing small in life. They will judge you if you're playing big in life. So there's no reason to fear if people will judge you. It's just about how you can show up in a way that lets people judge the version of you that you want them to judge. So you're being the version of yourself that you want them to judge. And it's always worth it to let them judge the full version of you that's showing up fully and playing full out. You might worry, what if I get rejected? Like someone is not interested in hiring you. What if every no is just redirecting you to an even better opportunity? Right? What if every no is just redirection? It's like that expression. How does it go again? Man's rejection is God's protection, something like that. So I tell our students something to that effect. Like when you are rejected from a potential client and you might be upset about that, you're actually being spared of something that wasn't meant to be. So what if instead of worrying, like, what if I get rejected? What if every no is you being spared of something that wasn't meant to be? What if every no is making space for a more aligned yes? You might worry, what if I burn out from taking on too much? Well, what if you create a business that energizes you instead of exhausts you? And I have a podcast on deck. I think it's going to be, if not the next episode, the one after, all about how to adapt your coaching business to your lifestyle. So make sure you're subscribed to the Life Coaching Secrets podcast, because that's one you're definitely going to want to hear if you also worry about burning out or taking on too much. You can absolutely create a business that aligns with your lifestyle and energizes you. If you have the fear, what if coaching isn't financially stable? Well, what if you can create a coaching business that gives you more financial freedom than any job ever could, right? That is so possible for you. So possible for you. What if you can create a coaching business that gives you more financial freedom than any job ever could? Again, this is a great episode to jot down these questions and even answer them for yourself, right? You decide. If you're going to ask yourself a negative question, you're going to find negative answers. So whatever you look for, you're going to find answers to. Okay, another fear you might have is, what if I invest in myself and it doesn't pay off? Okay, but what if you invest in yourself and it's the best decision you ever make? What if you invest in yourself and it's the best decision you ever make? You might worry, what if I fail, just in general? What if I fail? Like a common fear that anyone would have whenever pursuing a goal. Well, what if this is the beginning of the most fulfilling chapter of your life? Just what if that's true? What if this is the beginning of the most fulfilling chapter of your life? So hopefully as I go through this, you're seeing that you always have a choice. And what I want you to do moving beyond this podcast is I want you to catch yourself whenever you have the what if, because sometimes they zip through your brain and they cause you to feel depleted and discouraged. So whenever you're feeling that way, I want you to notice, what's the negative what if that created that, and how could you reframe the what if? You can take the what ifs I shared with you in this episode. This is also a great technique to use with your clients because they're going to have negative what ifs as well, and they'll need your help to reframe. And we teach our students a lot more about reframing in our advanced module in TCA. So, the overall reason why we want to do this, as I shared in the beginning, is about building trust in yourself. Being able to know that you can always adapt, you can always meet any moment of your life with curiosity. So, here are just some thoughts in general that will help you trust in yourself and just trust in the process of your life as it unfolds. The less that you trust in life and yourself and just how everything unfolds, the more you're going to notice these catastrophizing thoughts just come up for you. So, here are some thoughts to try on that will also help anchor in what we've talked about in this episode. You don't need all the answers. You just need to stay curious. You don't need all the answers. You just need to stay curious. Right? The coaching process is designed to adapt to any situation. Your job is not to solve, it's to guide clients to their own clarity. Right? Trust yourself. You can trust yourself to handle whatever arises. I tell our students this as well when they go through the training, that I don't have fear. When I got started, I had a lot of fear going into a session, but then there's this tipping point where after you've had so many sessions and you've gone through it, you just see that no matter what happens, the client's going to end up somewhere amazing. You don't have to know what that's going to be in the beginning. They're going to end up somewhere amazing, and it's always going to work out perfectly in the time allotted in the session. The more you trust in the process, the faster that you'll start realizing that's going to happen, right? You have enough for your clients exactly as you are. That's also really important to really anchor yourself in that belief as you go into sessions. You have enough, all right? The best coaching happens in the present moment, not in hypothetical future. So just being in the present moment. You don't need to prepare for every single scenario with your coaching, with your clients, with your business. You can just respond to each moment as the moment arises, right? Whatever happens, just see you as like you're meeting each moment of your life with curiosity and with openness, right? So whatever happens, I want you to know that every challenge that you experience, it's an opportunity for growth for you, for your clients, for your business. Even if you make mistakes, so to speak, these all lead to valuable lessons. Okay, so it's okay. It's okay for you to learn and adapt and grow as you go. All right, so that's what I got in this episode on handling coaching paralysis. I feel like I probably knocked down 100 fears that I know a lot of coaches have and aspiring coaches have. So I hope this has been helpful. Please do, if you haven't yet, leave us a 5-star review. We have over 200 episodes on this podcast, but we have very little reviews, and we want our listeners like you to share your feedback and tell us all the things that you appreciate about the show. It absolutely means the world to me when I see those reviews. So take a minute and go to Spotify, go to Apple Podcasts, wherever you're listening to the show right now. Just take a moment, leave us a 5-star review, write a sentence or two about what you appreciate about the show, and know that it is read and it is so, so deeply appreciated. Thank you so much in advance. And before you go, I'm going to leave a snippet from an interview that I had with one of our coaches inside Thriving Coach Academy. This is a student that went through our program, and they're going to share a bit of their experience, but also give you some tips for how you can become successful as a coach. So enjoy their story, and I will see you in the next episode.
I'm Nanika Thompson. I'm the founder and principal of Mariama Consulting. About a year ago, I came to a point in my career where I was ready to take the leap into entrepreneurship. It had always been something I considered, but I really felt ready to do it after 15 years working for someone else. So I decided to take my experience helping businesses improve their worker skills into my own hands. And I started my own company, consulting, and but doing some coaching on the side. But I was never formally trained in coaching. So it was at that point where I decided that I wanted to take what I was kind of doing on the side and bring it under my company, but learn how to do it right. As a consultant, there were organizations looking to hire me, and they said, "We want to hire you as a coach." So they were using the term coach. So I found Thriving Coach Academy on the ICF website and I scheduled a consultation with the admissions team. And what I learned was that the program was so comprehensive and so fast paced. It was what I was looking for. I realized it was for me. And throughout the program, everything's been really interactive. The trainings have been intensive. And I knew that this was a place where I could progress quickly. Just a few months into the program, I discovered an amazing corporate coaching opportunity, and I just decided to apply. I wasn't done with the program yet, but I went ahead anyways. Part of the interview process was mock coaching. So, because Thriving has you do these Zoom practice sessions, I was already prepared. I overcoached. Like, they were like, okay, like the coaching that you're giving us is like, and by the end of the interview, they were so impressed, they hired me on the spot. And now I have a 12-month coaching opportunity as that I can bring under my consulting business. And now I see more opportunities to provide corporate career coaching, and I'm not even certified yet. The instruction is absolutely top notch. Every professional that I work with is talented, they're engaging, and they're experienced, and they want me to win in my business. Throughout the program, I was learning tools and techniques for actual coaching, but there's also this really great business development part of the course. This is the best professional development investment that I've made in myself, because it's really not just a training program, it's an experience. And it just shows through and through by the way that the program is put together, the care and of the materials, the group format. I was able to build my network from the very first training session. The coaching I was doing before is nowhere what I'm doing now. And I've expanded so much from what I understand coaching to be now. Before enrolling, I thought that the training was going to be too basic. I thought I would need to invest in more business training, but I found everything under one roof. So I've been through a bachelor's degree, a master's degree, countless training programs, and Thriving Coach Academy is really stellar training. It's really a top notch program. I would tell anyone who's considering Thriving Coach Academy that you will be blown away with the investment that you are making in yourself. It will exceed your expectations.
Hey, would you like access to powerful coaching tools you can use on yourself and clients right away? For being a listener of the podcast, I'm giving you a VIP guest pass to get a sneak peek into my coach training program. Inside, you'll learn our coaches' secret tool they use to transform their clients' lives. And you'll also get a training on how to launch a coaching business. Just head over to www.thrivingcoachacademy.com/VIP to get started. I'll see you on the inside.